Hello there again. This is Arvind Dang. Today I am going to give my fourth presentation on the topic of uh, interior designing, the key issues involved for making a robust interior design. In my today's presentation, uh, the topics which I'll include is the scope of the design, what are the essential characteristics of a robust interior design, what are the specifications of the key materials that are to be used in interior design works, the essential technical steps and activities which are necessary to facilitate building a quality in the interior designing process, uh, what kind of software are available, and option to the need for having a software to shorten the development time, and what are the different stages of the interior designing. Now, the scope of interior designing in our context includes what are the different type of buildings which are basically residential, hotels, hospitals, commercial shopping malls, offices, education institutes, and the broadly three type of interior materials which I have considered is finishes, FFE or furnishing pictures and equipment, and the artwork. Now, what are the important essential characteristics of a robust interior design? The interior design should enable accomplishing the vision of the balancing the functional space between the filled spaces in the areas being designed and the empty spaces in the areas being designed. That is primarily the context or the rooms or the restaurants and the areas where there are get-togethers, etc., or meeting areas. Next is accomplishing the vision of the color scheme which are optimum. These could be primarily under the following aspects. One is the hue, second is the value, third the intensity. By hue I mean what kind of color options are there: red, green, blue, purple, etc. And in terms of value, the lightness or the luminosity, how dark or how light it has to be there, and the colorness, the brightness or the dullness of the color. These are the second point which is important in the robust interior designing. And the third is accomplishing the vision of the design style. I mean, the design, is it going to be a normal or a classical, which is a blend of the both Greek and Roman, and planning perfect harmony, or the third one option is modern, that is normal or classical or modern interior designing. The fourth is the accomplishing, how to accomplish the vision, particularly in the context of the lighting. The lighting broad aspects are the mood, the accent, the type of lighting for the task related areas. For the mood, interior design should be such that it should be able to create an atmosphere within the areas using lighting. And by accent I mean highlighting or the focusing on the objects like artwork or feature locations, or create dramatic effects. For example, in the case of softscape areas or the interior artwork areas, etc. And task driven is where there's something specific task is to be done in a room, or a fine work is to be done, or the last is the natural light which is there from the available from the sun. Fifth aspect for a robust interior design is the how to accomplish the vision with the texture and the pattern. This is something, the particularly surfaces which are there smooth or rough or slim, defining the appearances in terms of the sizes, shapes, density, arrangements and proportions. These are the broadly aspects which interior designer has to keep in mind while designing interiors. Now, what are the different kind of materials which are used in the interiors? For example, in the case of finishing, there can be different kind of finishing for the marble styles, wooden flooring, etc. There are materials like marbles or flooring materials, etc. Where interior designer has to specify very clearly which are the various national and international quality standards. For case of marble styles, size, thickness, color, hardness, grain, size, textures, country, from which country the marble is to be imported, polishability, strength, etc. Then for the flooring, particularly wooden flooring, what kind of flooring is required to be there, depending on the traffic, size, the color, the luster, the grain, the water content, hardness, density, etc., and shear resistance. Now then there are finishing materials which are required specifically for the walls. Here there are items like paints and wallpapers and tiles or fabrics. Now particularly in the context of the paints, what is important is for the designer to specify the what kind of color, the gloss, the viscosity, flowability, resistance to water and heat and wear and tear. Then the next finishing material is the chinaware, like wash basin or WCs. Here the interior designer has to specify, choose the color, the brand, the shape, the size, the series, and in more depth, hardness and model of elasticity and ductility and wear resistance, etc. Other thing is in the finishing is the lighting fixtures and lamps. Here the interior designer has to choose brand name of the supplier, the model, the product number, the overall size and dimensions, the performance characteristics of the model and product number, etc. Here the variety is extremely large in terms of the type of lights and the type of fixtures which are available. Next one is the bathroom fittings or chrome plated fittings or kitchen fittings. Here again interior designer has to specify the aesthetics, the color, the shape, the brand, the model, series and the chrome thickness, because the basic purpose is that these should not get rusted. And then any specific requirement related to the structural steel or the low rise steel or the stainless steel. Here the usual things like tensile strength, yield strength, elasticity, hardness, etc. are to be specified by the interior designers. Now we come to the next one, the FFE, furniture, fixtures and equipment. Here furniture means like sofas, tables, cupboards, almirahs, etc. Here the interior designer has to specify the brand of the supplier who is going to make this furniture, the overall dimensions, the product number, the type of polish, the grains, the color and the capacity, seating capacity, etc. In the case of equipment can be for the gym, for the spa, sauna, office, kitchen, laundry, etc., etc. Particularly in the context of the hotels, hospitality industry. Here one has to, again similar to the above, one has to specify, interior designer has to specify the brand name and the overall size and dimensions. And then the artwork, which is the last one, which in my presentation in terms of the type of materials. Here the artwork can be either made out of ceramics or stainless or aluminum or paper or etc. And for example the paintings, the sculpture, the antique items, etc. Here not much in terms of the specification qualities needs to be prescribed, but overall dimensions and overall looks, appearances, aesthetics, they are very important. Now what are the important good design practices that are important in the interior designing construction works? These are basically, for example, incorporating in the design aspects, quality standards related to the plaster coating, painting, tiling work, decorative works in the wall finishing areas, laying of the marbles, how to lay the marbles, tiles, wooden flooring, or with carpets, vinyl, etc. Then how to do the POP painting works, frameworks, suspending ceiling, decorative, etc. and the ceiling works. For furniture, is the how to do the installation, testing and commissioning. In the case of bathrooms, lighting, etc. Fixtures, how to do the installation, testing and commissioning. Similarly for the kitchen and laundry equipment, how to do the installation, testing and commissioning of these, and ditto for the case of artwork. Now how to bring quality in the designing process using designing software. Now the essential steps which are required is that generating the solid surface and mesh modeling, 3D navigation, visual styles, and how to this making of the renderings, drawings and image references, and integration of all these drawings, designs with the architecture and MEP services, which is very very important to avoid any conflicts. So there are different kind of software which are available. Some of the important software which are particularly used in India are Pro Modeling, Suite Max, AutoCAD, Autodesk Revit, Autodesk 3D, SketchUp, Photoshop, or similar ones which designers can choose from host of options available. Now, how to ensure that the design software which is being chosen, it is comprehensive. So this one of some of the parameters which need to be ensured is that it should be enabled to detail designing of the elements like walls, ceiling, flooring, furniture, fixtures, staircase, doors, windows, etc. It should be able to provide the necessary specification options for and generating the layouts and manufacturer details and serial number. It must be able to capture that. And there are software like architecture and interior modeling which can be considered for bringing this comprehensiveness into the designing process. Now there are different kind of stages for the design development, particularly in the context of the normal size projects. There are 9 stages which have been proposed, and these vary from company to company. Now the basic requirements are that the stages must enable integrating all the statutory and safety requirement, if any, in the design and drawings, incorporating the national and international quality standards, the bill of materials, optimize the project cost for the interior designing, enable efficient delivery of the specification drawings and drawings, a typical problem faced by the construction people, and incorporating the maker and checker concept in the design stages through implementation of the segregation of duties concept. Now, the stage one, which is I call it the development interior designing plans. Here, instead of giving the descriptive what kind of plans include, I am just highlighting the what are the various activities that can adversely impact the business. For example, not obtaining or not incorporating the strategic inputs which are there, like the from the customers. For example, the what kind of design is required in terms of traditional or modern or contemporary, what kind of fixtures are required, what kind of finishings are required, what kind of target cars are required, not incorporating into this designing. Then inadequate installation vision in the designing process at the concept stage with respect to the wall location, ceiling plans, floor covering plans, finishing, power and data plans from various functions, which could be customers, marketing, and other as required, and not involving the relevant functional teams in vetting of the plans. Functional teams, it means that the other designers and the construction teams and the sales and marketing teams. The stage 2 is developing and designing the furnishing plans, which are very important, and here the main important activities which can adversely impact the business are the plans developed which are developed by the untrained and skilled professionals and not involving the functional teams in the vetting of the plans, inadequate standardization of the design leading to much higher cost, and proposing furniture and fixtures through limited pre-identified vendors with the ulterior motive. Now, third one is the reflecting the what is called the RCP, reflected ceiling plans. What are the things which can adversely impact the business? This is making the RCP non-comprehensive or inaccurate by not obtaining or not incorporating the inputs from the various functional people, using software for designing which are unlicensed and hence not comprehensive enough, and making compromising in the RCP design by skipping or compromising on the essential aspects such as RCP design features, statutory requirements, national and quality, international quality standards. Tolerance of the BOQ materials are not specified or inadequately specified. Non-comprehensive RCP design related construction processes, inaccurate bill of material for each of the RCP design area and the number of quantities, and inadequate standardization leading to much higher cost, and measurement requirements for the work in process for the completed areas are not defined. Now, fourth one is developing the floor covering plans. Now, the floor covering plans also need to be comprehensive. Now, in case these are designed which are floor plans are non-comprehensive or inaccurate, this can lead to adversely impacting the business. Like RCP, here also the BOQ materials specifications being inadequate, or choosing the vendor which is favoring the company designers, and not incorporating the various design features which are required for the floor, like in the case of RCP. Again, similar thing like BOQ material specification, inadequate quality controls, quality requirements, and non-comprehensive floor designs, just like RCP. Now, fifth stage is the developing the MEP plans, which are integrating the architecture and mechanical and MEP plans. Here, important aspects are that the MEP plans which are drawn by the interior designer are not comprehensive or are inaccurate, and therefore they cause issues vis-a-vis the things like PowerPoints or data points or finishing materials, etc., etc. This is possible because in case the interior designers are using the unlicensed software, or they are skipping some of the design activities in this process and not incorporating any statutory requirement, which may be pretty low in this case of interior designer, but there are, particularly in the case of the fixtures and lightings and kitchen equipment, etc., etc., or gym equipment, there could be some quality standard requirement which need to be incorporated, and not making the VOQ material specification fine. Continuing that, here also the BOQ materials are not specified distinctly, and compromising by recommending the BOQ material of specific vendors and hand in glove with them, non-comprehensive design related construction processes, inadequate standardization, and inspection requirements with respect to the inputs are not there, like finishing, sprinklers, smoke detectors, light fixtures, lighting lamps, fans, etc. They are not comprehensive enough. Just the model number is given. Then developing and designing, stage 6, developing a design and drawings activities that can work impact to business are that these drawings are not aligned to the original concepts and strategic plans and the layouts which were drawn in the first conceptual stage, and the sections of the each area, wall finishing configuration, ceiling profiles, joinery details, these are not adequately provided in the designs. And the most important here is the designing, assigning the same designer who had developed the concept drawings and drawing into this final design stages, leading to compromising on the concept of the segregation of duties, and so that there is no maker checker concept inbuilt. Making the designs and drawing which are non-comprehensive and using unlicensed software also. Here the aspects are other aspects are that the drawings are not coordinative enough with the MEP, and which lead to conflict and reworks during the construction processes. Then compromising on the specifications of the development of samples and mock-up when the samples are received, either these are accepted as it is, although these are in deviation to the designs. Then using of the smartphones in the interior design work areas and taking pictures and sharing with the competitors. This is absolutely unethical thing. And then allowing the official laptops to carry outside the offices to the homes of the interior designers, and misusing the confidential information. And then printing of the designs and drawings, or soft copies sharing, misusing these, not shredding the waste designs and drawings, and allowing very liberal access to the designers of soft servers and laptops and printers. And the next stage is the development of the tenders. Here the tender specifications in terms of the FFE or the finishing material, etc., they are not comprehensive. In case they are not comprehensive, they can lead to adversely impacting business. Tolerances are not specified properly. Construction design, interior design, construction related processes are not adequately defined. Lack of standardization, bill of materials for the all the number of is inaccurate, or features interior design features in the GFC drawings are not adequately incorporated. And the designs and drawings, they are devoid of the mentioning of the national and international quality standards. The measurement requirements for the interior design works are not clearly defined, and inspection requirements for the inputs of the workmanship are not defined in the detailed technical tenders. Next one is the making of the cost estimates. Now here, the instead of just giving ballpark estimate that okay, this is likely to be total rupees cost per square feet, that is the easiest option. But what good practice is that one should have a detailed working of the costing based on the first principle of the raw materials, or the direct construction materials, cost of labor, cost of fabrication, etc., instead of just going with ballpark figure. And sometimes deliberated to keep these pressures from the management, to avoid pressures, just keeping some BOQ materials in the scope of the costing. And the last stage is the hand holding support to be not adequately provided, so that when the actual construction is done, there are issues to the specification, quality, selection of the BOQ, selection of the vendors, and the inspection of the interior design items. So here, particularly in the context of the hospitality industry, it is very important that the interior designers, they provide the hand-holding support to the designers, to the construction teams. Now there are just 63 activities which I have specifically stated in this coverage. Now more details for this can be found out from my blogs in the and my website, and of course in the book which I have written on the ethics in the real estate hospitality industry volume 1, and these books are available from Amazon and Amazon.com. Thank you.